Our first speaker of the second half is Aaron Rabinowitz, if you would like to make your way to the stage. Aaron may or may not be a reptile. We're about to find out, but we're very lucky to have him here tonight.
All right. Thank you all very much. And thank you all for coming back from lunch. I apologize. I'm going to make you regret it. So I'm going to give a talk about decoding moral panic conspiracism memes. I was trying to think about what would be a fun activity, and for folks who don't know me, when I'm not making people talk about luck, I am talking about conspiracies and conspiracism content online, and specifically mostly torturing Marsh and Alice with really, really long articles about deeply horrifying material. So I just want to reiterate, warning, from here on out it gets very bad, okay? So I also want to apologize. On the way over here, my computer died, so I'm doing this a little bit more off the cuff, but we'll see how this goes. So I was looking for something. My goal here was to find a meme that I hadn't seen before, that I hadn't broken down before, and like walk y'all through what I would do in order to break it down so that if someone, a relative sends you something, you can use a similar process. It's not magic. It's going to be very kind of basic stuff in some ways, but also fun. And so what I wanted to do was pick a meme that would be sufficiently dense as to be difficult to try to do in 10 minutes so that we'd have a nice race, and at the same time, sufficiently horrifying that your minds would possibly just shut down upon immediately seeing this in the wild. So, here we are. Show of hands, anybody seen this meme before or a version of this meme? Congratulations, you are terminally online. I apologize. How many of you can recognize that this is deeply horrifying just by looking at it? Okay. How many of you believe that you could point to the parts of this meme that are anti-Semitic? It's a trick question. It is all anti-Semitic. Okay, so what do I do when I get sent something horrifying like this? And this is very much like a plumber. Plumbers still use plungers because they work, right? So at the end of the day, first step, pretty straightforward. I'm just going to put this into, by the way, I'm testing out a new name for this. Memes like this, Hieronymus Gishgalop, does that read? Okay, we'll keep it, Okay, so first thing I would do, straightforward, put this into Google, reverse image search, right? Here are the interesting ones. Below this, it just turns into a bunch of gray alien stuff, right? Couple of things that I think we would want to, does this work? Oh, perfect. Couple of things we want to highlight here, right? First things first, know your meme, right? That's the first place you're probably going to want to go next, because they're going to help you understand. If you don't know the name of a meme, they're going to give you the root name. They're going to tell you about its origin and things like that. So we'll be there in a second. But there's a few other things we want to check out here besides based and Jew pill. That's fun. But also this caught my eye when I first looked this up. Netanyahu's silence on sons ... Oh, we're going to find out what that means later. All right, so this is what you get from the Google reverse image search going to know your meme. So this is the first page it brought me to. This is not the actual page for it. This is going to be a sub-page where we've got a bunch of extra other stuff that people have thrown in here. Those twins are related to Dianetics in a way that is so strange. We absolutely don't have time for any of it. That's what the name here means. Bogdanovs is these two twins. Don't have time. Oh, sorry, I want to show you a few things on here, though. When you go to know your memes, they have some pretty useful resources, especially like tags. Tags is where you're going to go to find the names of a bunch of this stuff, right? So from here, we're going to find out who some of these key figures are, right? And we're going to get to our origin page. The food chain. That is the name of our meme here. A couple of things I want to highlight on this initial page. First of all, this is described as part of a series on American Bear. American Bear is this little fella. We'll get to him eventually. He's the least important part of this meme. The idea that this is part of his series and not a series on anti-Semitism, for example, is very strange. I don't know why that's labeled that. They do manage to at least acknowledge down here that there are some anti-Semitic caricatures in here, so that's nice. I love that they say may be considered safe for work, right? I like that they appreciate that some of us do jobs like this, where this is, in fact, relatively safe for work. This is not safe for normal people, right? Also, liked by 1.8 million people. That's a lot of people to like such a horrifying meme. I didn't click like because I don't like it, right? But a lot of people did. Other things. So here's our description, right? What is this thing? It's a pretty straightforward meme, like in terms of its structure, right? It's the basic idea of who's controlling who. As conspiracy-minded individuals like yourselves, you probably are already familiar with how those chains work. They say here, right, groups following the bait that a more powerful entity showing in front of them via a fishing rod. All right, so that's our style of meme. And we've got anti-Semitic caricature, Le Happy Merchant. That's going to be really important, one of the most important memes of all time. Origin, disputed origin. Bonus points if you click on that little one next to the disputed origins thing and go and read that thread. It is amazing. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's really hilarious. It is not what you're expecting. Le Happy Merchant plus Le Reptile Face. This is particularly impressive, right? So, as y'all are probably already familiar, reptilians are an anti-Semitic meme. Here we have the missing link, right? Direct connection between Le Happy Merchant and the reptiles. And again, in our tags here, we have more of our tags, and we've got Yari Netanyahu. Let's find out why. So, how do we break this down? Now that we've got the info, we can just go left to right. Alien species under the reptilian overlords. Now, y'all are a largely British audience, so you're pretty familiar with this already. Since, obviously, sympathies to the dearly departed. I know how it's been hard on everyone. But, this is from y'all's probably most famous export. Does everybody know what those 3 bars on the sides mean, by the way? Anybody not seen that before? It's called echoes. It's an Nazi technique for calling something a Jew without calling it a Jew. So if you ever see that, it's either someone helping Jewish people by naming themselves in this kind of way, or it's more likely Nazis. So this, of course, the reptilians can be traced most primarily back to David Icke. Here he is with his with his sons who have taken over the business, Gareth and Jamie. I spent a little time on their platform recently watching some of their content. It's great stuff. And they're being interviewed here by an anti-masker pro wrestler because that's how conspiracism works. So I'm not going to spend much time on the reptilians. Moving on, right? We've got the Greys. Strangely enough, the Greys are not typically associated with just being a Nazi or being a Jew stand-in, right? Even though I would argue of many of the things we're looking at, they look the most like Jews in a lot of ways. Short, large head, stuff like that. But yeah, no, strangely enough, instead, Greys are not Jews, probably still Jews. They are though, allied in the galactic war against the Aryan side of the alien fight. Source there is John de Nugent, a fucking Nazi. And of course, that little DNA helix there, as we know from our morning talk, is related to the conspiracies about how different races are gene edited by aliens for various reasons, right? So, modified our DNA. Moving on, we have Le Happy Illuminati Freemasons. So this is just levels and levels of anti-Semitism, right? Because the hands thing, but you've also got the Freemasons. Historically, anti-Semitism has been associated with the Freemasons and the Illuminati since the French Revolution as an explanation for why everyone would weirdly want equality or something. It's obviously because of the Jews. And they are, of course, being offered the secrets of the Eye of Providence, which you've probably seen on Our Money. This is a reference to the protocols of the Elders of Zion, of course. And then finally, we have the most important character here, Le Happy Merchant. This is maybe the most important meme of all time, in my opinion, right? It was used by the Nazis for the Holocaust. It has been refined down to this very specific format. Some of y'all might be familiar with this particular meme. It had a little bit of a moment over here when I think it was Corbyn shared it or something like that, or shared a version of this, actually, not this exact one. But if we enhance over here on the right, Jews, right? So, moral of the story here, Jews all the way down. We've got some bonus text up here that might tell you a little bit about where this is coming from in this particular case. You get the impression from this that there's maybe some Hotep or Black Israel going on here. If you're not familiar with them, go have some fun on that. I've got a Skeptic Mag piece on that. Here's a moral panic version of this. You've got La Happy Anita Sarkeesian in the middle there, and another Antifa reference, and you've got a Rothschild. Jews all the way down.
Hey! Excellent, excellent. So we've got some questions for you, Aaron. Are you ready? Ready for the question? Excellent. So the first one is from Igor. Is it always Igor, by the way? Hi, Igor. Are people who are making these memes, are they mostly doing deliberate indoctrinating or just people who are showing terrifying glimpses into their own fascinating mind?
Both. Yeah, absolutely. Some people are just doing it because they have serious issues, but I think a lot of times people genuinely believe these things and want to share this information because they think it will improve other people's lives. I tend to assume that everyone is the hero of their own story in their minds.
Next question from Anonymous. Do you know why there are so many people with a background in wrestling, weightlifting, and fighting sports interested in these conspiracies?
I mean, like, besides the head wounds? Like... I don't know if there is actually a statistically higher amount of like conspiratorial wrestlers or something like that. It could be that there are cultural influences there, most notably Joe fucking Rogan, who didn't make it onto this particular series of slides, but is like a promoter of a lot of conspiracism for meatheads, basically, and it's very, very unfortunate.
I feel like I might know the answer to this one, but what is the strangest meme you found? Was it not that?
Oh God, I don't. They're all deeply, deeply strange. Man, now I'm blanking. Fuck. No, I think.
Follow Aaron on Twitter, and I'm sure he'll post some fun ones for you there.
What?
Follow you on Twitter. You might post some fun ones there.
Yeah, or go read the Skeptic Mag articles. There's certainly plenty of weird stuff in there. I would say the Hotep stuff is really interesting to dive into. There were some memes that they shared in actually a podcast that I listened to with Hotep Jesus is his name. And yeah, so that part of stuff gets very, very, very strange.
And we do one more question. Why so much French, asks Bremner.
Why so much French? Oh, yeah, La Happy. That's the name of the meme. I'm not actually sure why it was originally termed that and not just Happy Jew. Because I don't know. That's a good question. Well, so part of it could be you do have the historic connection between anti-Semitic conspiracism and specifically the French with Napoleon and the revolutions and the protocols of the Elders of Zion. So it may be a connection there.
Aaron Rabinowitz, everyone.